Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 177. Okay, so right off the bat, we have way more horror attacks this turn. To the tune of 9 horror attacks. Let's go ahead and see how this stuff works out. Most of the stuff is relatively inconsequential, but the King of Flames and the Enkidu Shaman we do definitely care about. So let's watch both of those and see how they go. So this was from us making a flame helmet. And so this is a thing that I've just mused on. I haven't looked it up. I had no idea. I have no idea how it works or anything like that. But before we made the flame helmet, I was like, oh, if it's a flame helmet, it costs a lot of gems. You know, he'll probably get attacked. I should do something to, you know, try to defend him. So I gave him a little bit of gear, and then while that was happening, I was like, oh, I've got this Ring of Returning sitting there. I wonder. So I put this on him, not knowing in any way, shape, form, or fashion what happens if you have a Ring of Returning proc during a horror attack. I don't know if it auto kills you because it's like a route, right? I don't know if it just takes you out of the fight and takes you back to wherever you got summoned or recruited or what have you. I have no idea. So this could go very poorly for us. We'll see. That being said, it's only 2 spine membranes, so as they try to sit there and mind burn, Pyroflogos just incinerates them. And he takes no damage the entire time, so there's never a chance to proc the Ring of Returning. So, we tested but did not acquire any information. And then we'll check the Enkidu Shaman real quick, and then we'll just flip through the others. So, Enkidu Shaman, I don't remember why this guy... I think this guy is just Horror Mark. He wasn't casting anything. He's just Horror Mark. He's up against some Belly Maw horrors. This is probably going to be really bad for him. He does Iron Skin, but I think the weakness tentacles are armor piercing. Yeah, so they're gonna ignore half of his armor, which is still something. Temper Flesh. See, the thing is I think, you know, he's potentially doing a good job defending himself, which is interesting because most of the time my mages do not. But I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's too many attacks. Maybe? Oh! Oh, that hurts. Weakened. Hey! Holy shit, he actually won. Thank you, Gift of Health, because he probably would have died without Gift of Health. That's pretty dope. Good job. Alright, what else we got? We got a Gala gets attacked, dies. Another Gala gets attacked, dies. Lich does Lichcraft and then gets attacked and dies, of course. Another Lich gets attacked by a Gore-Tide Horror. Oof. Vampire Lord gets attacked by Belly Maws and dies. Enkidu gets attacked, dies. Initiative gets attacked, dies. And that's about it. So we are... Not a good turn for us for horrors. We are 2 and 7 on successes against horrors this turn, but I guess at the end of the day, right? We succeeded on probably the 2 that we actually care about, so there is that. As far as assassination attempts or remote assassinations or things like that, we just had another arrow, which we survived. So 1-0 versus arrows, and then we have, of course. Sorry, my throat's a little. Meh. We have, of course, a bunch of battles versus Lanka, and 1 battle against Relay. So, the battle against Relay is just us counter... Oh, no, actually, it's us fucking around with the Tartarian. So, that's a win for us. Easy peasy. We'll flip through the rest of the stuff. We've got some good stuff, though, here. I think Realm of Silence is our biggest issue, but we'll save that for last. Glade Woods, we got raided down. Sinkhole Swamp. This was kind of an interesting little feint. We've been going back and forth with Sinkhole Swamp for a while. Last turn, I sent in a bunch of liches and vampires and managed to kill off, I want to say it was last turn, managed to kill off a fair amount of vampire lords from him, I believe. Like 6 or something like that. And this turn, he sent in a significantly larger force from a chaff perspective. But I kind of anticipated that he would, of course, try to re-raid it or counter-raid it. So I just left all of those forces there. I didn't move them. I was just like, okay, well, let's see what he throws. And we kind of won the bait here. So we ended up killing 2 Vampire Lords, a Lich, and a Wraith Lord, plus a bunch of Long Dead. So that's pretty nice. That was a pretty nice catch for us. In Sciatica, we moved in, just took the province, easy peasy. Same in Ial. In the Womb, we get hit. That. We take Tyrannia, met no resistance. We take Trackless Woods, met no resistance. We get hit in Coast Haven and lose that. We attack in Troia, win. In Mag and win. In Tirnanog and lose. And then we basically get a little taste of our own medicine. Although I'm not sure why this one worked the way that it did. We're 7 Vampire Lords versus 5 Vampire Lords and a Lich. So let's watch this. This one's actually interesting to me. Let's see if there's anything special. Any like gear? No gear. No gear. None. 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 Okay, so what is the issue here? I think I already know. We've got Horde of Skeletons. We've got lead up to half. Horde of Skeletons. Okay. And we've had the exact same from his side. Horde of Skeletons, Horde of Skeletons. All that. Turn on stuff so we can see. Okay, so these are set to just straight Horde of Skeleton spam. So what are they doing? Horde of Skeletons, Horde of Skeletons. Did his skeletons just do better? Oh, this guy's on Raised Dead instead of Horde of Skeletons. Okay, so this guy is on the old script. Everyone's fatigued out, basically. Huh. Very interesting. I'm not really sure. How is he continuing to cast? Huh. I guess it's just selection here. And it's the fact that, yeah, it's the approach and it's the approach and cast spells, I think, that is screwing us over here. Because these vampires in the back, because they are so far away and their script is just cast spells, they default to... They're out of the range of things like Wither Bones or Controlled Dead, so they just default to casting more summon spells, which I think is what we needed had we been... Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And now this Lich is up here, casting things like Drain Life. Like, had we just stayed back and it was 7 vampire casters against 5 vampire casters, plus a lich in there doing a little bit, we might have 1. That's an interesting little exercise, honestly. This really goes to show how AI and scripting and positioning really can influence things. Now, that's not to say that I think the Vampire Lords should win against the 7 should win against the 5 and the 1 every single time. That 1 really does make a difference. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, though. I think the key here was that we were on approach and cast spells, and because we were on approach and cast spells, we defaulted to things like Wither Bones or Control Undead, which can be good. Don't get me wrong, they can be good, but that gets into a territory where that's a roll of the dice, that's luck on whether we get a bunch of good procs versus just summoning straight more units. And had we just summoned straight more units, we probably would have summoned more and eventually overwhelmed the enemy, which is kind of what happened to us. So, very interesting there. All right, next up, that was Kernanog? Yeah. Witchhaven, we attacked and won. Agartha, we attacked and won. Flower Meadow Forest, we attacked and won. Popped a little force of undead there. We get hit in Wick Forest. Cool. Lose that. We attack in Shambolic. Win that. We get hit in Perenna. And this is unfortunate. I can't remember if I saw this coming and just didn't do anything about it, or if I just wasn't paying attention, didn't realize. But we basically lose a whole bunch of units here in Perenna for no real reason. I think, yeah, he had been here in Tyrannia previously, and he just attacked into Perenna, which makes perfect sense. I don't know if I was just sitting here thinking, oh, well, you know, we've got a lot of thralls. They'll be able to do something. Of course they're not going to be able to do anything. So, is what it is. There are a fair number of units here, though. 13 liches, 8 vampire lords. This army isn't playing around. This army could actually do a lot of damage. So. Then we get attacked in Ghent, lose that. We attack in Greenwoods and win. We attack in Defaros and win. And then we attack in the Listening Dew Forest and we lose. And this is funny because this is, I don't know, this is kind of a random feint into his territory that we just lost pretty hard. So yeah, so we have this group of vampires and basically our last couple of storm demons, and then there's just a crap ton of liches here, which is funny, but not going to end well for us. Now the storm demons could potentially turn the tide. It just depends on what they do after they utilize all of their ammunition. But it looks like this is going to be over before they really utilize all of their ammunition. And as strong as the storm demons are, and they have ethereal, etc., etc., they're not going to win against this many undead. They're going to get chipped down eventually. Unfortunate. Okay, aside from that, we have the 2 battles in Realm of Silence. So let's go ahead and watch the first one. This is our feint outwards with our very simple oh, he's fucking hidden. He's fucking hidden. Back here. So, we've got this guy with the Wind of Death, and we're just Wind of Deathing. I don't even know why I really brought the other liches. Honestly, I think it was mostly just because I didn't think the one guy with Wind of Death was gonna be enough to gem bait him, and I wanted to both gem bait him and get a Wind of Death off. Wind of Death does look like it is doing a fair amount there. Let's see how it is. We had our 64 units, and yeah, holy shit, it did a lot. It's jeez. Wow. It's killed 593 units. Well, did it kill 593 units? I don't know. It was responsible. The attack was responsible for 593 units dying. Of course, the vast majority of this is just long dead, right? So, you know, whatever. But the hope is that the damage dealt there is going to give us victory in the coming fight. So, basically, took a third of his force out. Now what do we have to deal with in Realm of Silence? So, basically the same thing, but we have a large amount of Kusarikus here, a fair amount of Yetis here. We've got a fair amount of Kidnids, and various other units. And we don't have, I don't think we have every buff in the book that we utilize, but we've got a fair amount of them. The main ones being Army of Lead, and I would say Blessing, but our Blessing's not really active right now. We got Army of Lead, and I think we've got Mass Regeneration and things like that coming in. Yeah, Mass Regeneration. So what he's got, we've got Life for Life coming up, and here's kind of like that big scary thing that we see way too frequently now is we have Rigor Mortis come up. So what are we going to be able to do against Rigor Mortis? Well, we do throw up Foul Vapors, and he has a couple of units here, like the Raktapada and even this Mandeha, who do not have poison resistance. So, you know, the vast majority of these units don't give a shit, obviously. But some of them potentially do. Now, they also have regeneration, so probably not gonna care that terribly much. But we've got Kusarikus in the choke point, and we've got Yetis, who actually hit pretty hard with these sticks and stones, and have a fair amount of ammunition. They're chunking. So, they don't have great accuracy, though. Just speed up, because this is basically just going to be a whole lot of tossing shit back and forth. These guys are back here regenerating through the poison. Ah, they have poison resist up now. Okay, gotcha. Same for this guy. So that's not going to be our ticket out of here. The foul... Not the Foul Vapors. The Rigor Mortis will get us eventually. You know? We've actually already gotten all of our casters. Annoying. And it's got most of our melee people, which is also annoying. I'm interested to see why some of these Yetis just keep tossing. I guess some of them are not fatigued yet, Very strange to me. But here's the thing. These units are pretty damn thick, and I don't think he has any other tricks. Obviously, he's going to continue to cast things, but with mass regeneration and the fact that everything is fatigued out now, so they can't run away, really, and we've plugged the gap. Unless our leadership somehow dies, we should actually be pretty good just to turn time him out. And this is going to be the downfall of Rigor Mortis, right? Is basically if you turn time on Rigor Mortis, all my shit's asleep, right? And it's going to be asleep for a very long time. Whereas your stuff isn't, so your stuff is going to potentially be the one that is routing. Now, there are some asides, like the Raktapadas and things like that, but very interesting situation. Kind of unfortunate that the water elementals, I still think, I've talked about this a little bit, but I still think that some sort of mechanic where larger units are able to push their way through smaller units, like it makes it, I feel like it's silly that these water elementals are just walking around like, oh, we can't do anything, boss. Oh, we can't do anything. You're water elementals. Slide your ass up to the front and start punching, right? I think in this particular situation, it wouldn't really benefit us greatly, but, you know, 6 water elementals suddenly charging in. Ah, there we go. 6 water elementals suddenly charging into things could be pretty good. So, his leadership has fled, which is cool because that means all of these undead are just dying. What's not cool is the fact that he does still have stuff on the field, and that stuff is now fleeing, but my stuff is getting close to being able to flee. Yep, and there goes some of my stuff. Right, so now we're in this dumb situation where we have won the battle, but we're gonna lose quite a bit of stuff here. As we're kind of waiting for his Raktapatas to flee off. So, really unfortunate. We do seemingly keep most of our stuff, though. So, in this battle, we defeat a Crystal Mage, a Golem, a Kokithiid. Do not get the Lich Mendeha, the 2 Raksharajas. We get 1 of the 3 Raktapatas, and none of the Vampire Lords. They all just bounce. But we crush this army of undead. Unfortunately, and this is so fucking annoying, right? Like, we lose both of our NCs because they were towards the back. We lose 3 of our Enkidu Shamans, 2 of our Gudus, 1 of our Ishibs, and a chunk of units. Actually, we didn't lose that many units, fortunately, but we did lose a fair number of casters, and we lose it entirely based off of the fact that a handful of his fucking Raktapatas didn't run because they were super fatigued, and basically everyone came out of fatigue, and instead of my army coming out of fatigue and going, oh, there's 4 Raktapatas on the field. Okay, let's just stand here. Yeah. And I get it, it's a mechanical scenario. It just doesn't make headcanon sense. I feel like there are some really great boons to being a defender, but there's also some really big deficits. And I feel like the whole your people routing means they insta-die is just a massive deficit that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You know? Like, why is it not possible for a force defending a fortress to route to a province adjacent to that fortress? You know? Like, is that just super strange? I guess it would potentially be abusable with certain strategies that you could do, but I don't know. Anyways. So, we are victorious, but we are victorious at a cost, which is unfortunate. More stuff. Unexpected event. Lose taxes in Kunberg. We get barbarians in Cracked Earth. We get some gold in Forest of Springs. We're under siege in a number of locations. And as normal, we get a bunch of patrolling and immortals back. So, there are 3 important-ish things to talk about in this turn. One is Realm of Silence, right? So, we were victorious there, but this area is very much still threatened. And technically, they are still on top of our province. So we're going to try to move them off the province with some vampires and some Gudus doing earth elementals. My assumption is he's just going to move the stuff that's still here, right? There's no reason for him to hold out with it. But he does have this very large stack here that I believe he's, you know, heading towards Kailasa, and he might send this back up to Realm of Silence. So what I am doing in response to that is I am casting a Flames from the Sky to try to hurt it a fair amount. And if he decides to just continue what he's doing with Kailasa, I've got 13 vampire lords that are gonna meet him in Kailasa. That's probably not enough to finish off this army, especially with the air elementals there. But the hope is that the combination of Flames from the Sky casting and vampire lords can make it to where he loses in Kailasa this big stack. We'll see. And if he doesn't come for Kailasa with this big stack, we'll definitely knock off what's there, and the Flames from the Sky will hopefully dwindle this army a little bit so it's less of a threat for here. But we're going to have to figure out how we don't have enough, we don't have leaders, right? Because we lost both of our freaking NCs in that because they were towards the back, so they ran first, of course. Also because I think they just had maybe some reinvigoration. I don't remember. Regardless, we're in trouble here in Realm of Silence. We're gonna have to figure out something that we can do, but we don't really have any great options at the moment. Our forces over here are extremely limited unless we want to take something from White Forest or Rafabolia, which just puts them in a worse position. Other thing that we're doing is, I don't really know why we're doing it, but we're doing it. There is a stack here of 570 undead that is on Pugria. We're going to lose Pugria, and that's fine. But I'm going to try to take some of this stack down. I've got a number of air Gudus that I'm sending to do air elementals stuff. And then I've got a Tartarian that's also going to come in there. I do expect to lose this. My hope is we'll just route back to Bell, right? But I don't know that that's going to be the case. And I don't know why, this is after the fact, I don't know why I've done this, but I have sent this Lich with Wind of Death also into the Sem location. Oh, no, okay, I lied. Just the Lich, see, in my mind that wouldn't have made sense. Just the Lich is going to Pugria, and this Tart is also going to Pugria. The Tart doesn't particularly care about decay, I don't think. It might. I might be completely wrong, but I think it doesn't get affected by decay. But we'll see. But the idea here is to come in, Wind of Death, the army, hopefully kill a bunch of it, and have the Tart pick up the rest of it, right? The Air Gudus are actually going to Pirena, right? And this is because this big stack that we saw in Pirena is here. And I want to hit it because it's got a lot of stuff with it. So if he is not expecting us to hit it, we're throwing a whole bunch at it, actually. We're going to break siege with all the vampires that are there. We're sending in a bunch of air Gudus. And then we're actually sending in a bunch of everything else. We're sending... I'll just show this, right? We're sending in an Isham with Gaia's Blessing. We're sending in some Ishibs with Water Elementals. Doing a Divine Blessing and sending in some Kusarikus and Ushus. A lot of air elementals, honestly. Like, that's a big part of what we're going to try to do is just elemental spam and hopefully take him by surprise. A Storm, a Fog Warriors, a Mist of Deception, Demon Cleansing, more Water Elementals, Mass Regeneration, a fair number of Summoners coming in, as far as, like, Hordes of Skeleton and stuff like that. Like I said earlier, a bunch of air elementals, water elementals, all that good stuff. Relief. So we're kind of throwing a bunch into this with the hope that he's not going to be expecting us to send a lot of the stuff that we have from and Hall Woods into this. And that we're going to be able to hopefully pop. Because if we can do that, then we might be able to take what we have, especially if we're successful here, and go on kind of like a little counteroffensive. But he's, being realistic, he's just got so many undead. And he has such an ability to manufacture them. I just don't think that it's realistic that we're going to be able to do anything in the long run. Is it the Raktapatas that can do this? Yeah, Raktapatas being Reanimator Priests is kind of like just the end for me, honestly. And it has been the end for 100 turns. I just don't have. I say this. If I had a better breadth of knowledge of the game and more forethought and foresight to prep for this, I could have made these moves turns and turns and turns and turns and turns ago. But I just don't have good answers to deal with the massive amount of undead that he can produce, because I can't produce that type of number of stuff. I could have. I don't have that ability now, right? I think I talked about this in the last episode, but had I known about how golems or inanimates not being attacked by horrors, I could have set up golem factories and things like that. If I had that, then at this point, I never would have had to pull the trigger on desperation attacking the thrones. I didn't have to pull the trigger on that, but I think this would have ended up the same way either way without that knowledge. And I only gained that knowledge because of the desperation attack. And then that means I wouldn't have lost all of my gem globals, which means I would have had continue to have crazy gem income, which means I could have just put all that use into mass summons to compete. Because, like, sure, 150 or 1,500 skeletons is a lot of skeletons. Sure, great, but 30 Anzus with Army of Lead and mass regeneration will annihilate that, probably. So it's, had I the knowledge, I had the resources. So what we're doing now is just trying to make some desperation plays to stave off Lanka as long as we can, but the end is nigh. It's just a matter of whether or not Relay is going to be able to do anything, and I don't think they are going to be able. They might make a couple of big plays, and that would be really cool. But I don't think that it's going. At the most, I think it just stalls the game a little longer. But I don't think we have much left in this. I think Realm of Silence is going to go down in the next couple turns, and then it's just a matter of time before he gets one of the other 5. So, fingers crossed. Oh, we got a few more things. My bad. In kind of preparation, we're continuing to do a lot of the things that we have been doing. Lichcraft, we're doing Kusarikus in a number of locations. We're doing Naiad Warriors here or there. Adding in some booster gear. We're doing a Thistle Mace. We're doing... I think that's actually it. But the big thing is we're doing an Apkalu this turn. Apkalus are super duper useful. We only have the one, I think, or do we not even have the one now? We might not even have the one now. So we're going to try to summon an Apkalu and get that back in our slate, but our gem ability is pretty much gone. So anyways, that's going to be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.